Listen up. Las Vegas completely hijacked the open market this offseason, catapulting this franchise light years ahead of everyone's wildest expectations. Broadcasting live from Michigan while the sun is still hiding. And I know Sin City is barely waking up. It might be 4 in the morning your time, but this is my standard pre-church, pre-grind routine. We need to dive deep into silver and black territory, so let us fire this up. We are tearing apart the massive gap between what Vegas pulled off versus the rest of the league, because I firmly believe they just orchestrated the single most legendary offseason free agency haul in all of professional football history. Desperation played a part, sure, but the sheer, undisputed caliber of warriors they recruited completely obliterates the mediocre quality of moves made by rival front offices. Truth be told, only a single solitary organization across the entire landscape can even dream of challenging your recent acquisitions. I will expose exactly who that challenger is, break down why your championship window is violently smashing open right now, and finally dissect the ultimate mastermind orchestrating this entire bloodbath. Because this marks the true inaugural season, you can accurately evaluate your general manager, Spytech, since he finally shares a singular, unified vision with your head coach. Absolute synergy between the front office and the sideline general is strictly mandatory for survival, and historically, that vital connection was horrifically fractured. That toxic disconnect was glaringly obvious during his previous stint alongside Pete Carroll. We will unpack all that juicy drama, but first, for the newcomers bleeding into this broadcast, I go by Craig, my partner in crime, Chris, and I bleed Honolulu blue for Detroit. We never hide our hometown loyalty, yet our fierce obsession spans the entire gridiron universe. An undeniable gritty kinship has always existed between your silver and black and our legendary late 80s and early 90s Detroit Pistons. That ruthless swagger ignited my immense respect for Vegas. That makes covering your sinister squad an absolute thrill for me every single time. If you crave a raw, unfiltered, and totally unbiased perspective, right? A crystal clear breakdown of every ruthless move your front office executes, you have found your ultimate sanctuary. This is it. Let us tear into this Las Vegas situation with everything we have. A brilliantly crafted piece of journalism recently caught my eye over on the Raiders Wire. John Todd unleashed a massive post, noting that merely 7 days into the fresh season calendar, Washington secured 7 names from Greg Rosenthal's premier 2026 Top 101 open market list. The capital city claims 7, spearheaded by Odafe Oweh, while Vegas, Houston, and the Jets acquired 6, 6, and 5 respectively. But listen closely to this critical plot twist. This is a vicious, head-to-head bloodbath exclusively featuring Washington and Vegas. Why? Because even though Houston grabbed half a dozen elite talents on that Top 101 chart according to Rosenthal, and hold on tight, I will pull up the Pro Football Focus metrics momentarily to prove they do not even belong in this heavyweight conversation at all. Houston's crown jewel sits way down at 42, while your front office hijacked the absolute third best weapon on the entire board, Tyler Linderbaum. The contrast in firepower is staggeringly massive. Furthermore, Washington may be tossing heavy cash around right now, but a massive chunk of their action was simply retaining their own roster. Extending veterans feels like an off-season victory. I get it, yet it injects zero new voltage into the depth chart. It merely buys the same mediocre product for a higher premium, whereas Vegas executed only a single solitary extension on your squad. That philosophical pivot separates the pretenders from the champions. Scanning your fresh acquisitions on this Top 101 hierarchy, you literally stole Tyler Linderbaum at 3, Kwity Paye at 28, and Nakobe Dean at 38. Shockingly, Pro Football Focus ranks Nakobe Dean all the way up at 12, yet somehow buries Kwity Paye near the 100 mark, which makes absolutely zero sense. Quay Walker commands the 40th slot per Rosenthal, despite falling totally outside the top 100 on alternate boards. Jalen Naylor hit 63, followed by Malcolm Kuntz at 81. Listen, several massive sharks from that top 100 tier remain freely swimming in the open waters, leaving room for a potential double dip. However, I am convinced your front office has officially shut the vault on premium free market spending and shifted their crosshairs directly onto the upcoming draft. There is no doubt, but how are the rivals faring? First, we must put Washington under the microscope. Based on the experts at Pro Football Focus, their monumental triumphs boil down to Odafe Oweh and Leo Chenal. Those represent their massive twin pillars of dominance. But compare those supposedly lethal pickups to your breathtaking combination of Linderbaum and Dean. Your haul completely eclipses theirs. Then you notice Rachaad White sitting artificially high on their grading scales, exposing a glaring flaw where those computer-generated metrics entirely miss the mark. The algorithm paints him as an absolute juggernaut in the backfield, but any seasoned film junkie knows he is far from a phenomenal running back. The guy only commands $2 million annually. That microscopic contract exposes their true evaluation, completely shifting the miserable narrative back toward their desperate Marcus Mariota experiment. Securing Nick Cross carries some decent upside, sure, but gambling on a kid fresh off a highly destructive campaign at just 24 years of age is wildly dangerous. That massive red flag cannot be ignored. The kid basically gave us one spectacular showcase, followed by 12 painful months of pure, unadulterated mediocrity. Throwing K'Lavon, Chason, and Chig Okonkwo into the mix provides adequate depth, yet they severely lack the devastating superstar gravity your Raiders franchise just brilliantly secured. Let us pivot over to the ultimate contender next. Prepare yourselves, because the entire landscape violently shifts right here and gets dramatically different. We are dragging the runner-up under the interrogator's spotlight to finally answer that burning critical question. Who dares to step into the ring next? Enter the Houston Texans. Let me hunt down their roster metrics for you right now. Give me a brief second to summon this data on screen while we talk. Boom. Check out the catastrophic downgrade unfolding down in Texas. Their apex acquisition maxes out with Reed Blankenship, a guy buried at 76 on the analytics chart. Christian Kirk is absolutely nowhere to be seen. Derek Barnett vanished from the list, leaving Sheldon Rankins as their next crown jewel, and that was a mere internal extension. Meanwhile, Braden Smith plummets all the way down to 118. Again, relying strictly on the official grading scale, he sits at a dismal 118. Locking him up for 2 seasons with $10 million guaranteed still felt like a solid tactical strike. Snagging a savage right tackle of that caliber would have been a beautiful addition for Las Vegas. Absolutely. However, your current trench warriors are already fortified and ready for war. They retained Ed Ingram and brought in Wyatt Teller, addressing their interior gaps, surely, but injecting merely average, mediocre protection into the offensive line of scrimmage. Bringing Trent Brown back rounds it out, yet staring at these names hovering deep within the hundreds proves their haul possesses zero of the earth-shattering power your squad unleashed. Listen, a ton of unattached players are rushing to ink deals there. Trust me though, their talent pool pales in comparison to your elite squad. That exact stark contrast is precisely why John Spytech's aggressive mastermind strategy should have you absolutely hyped up. Flashback to last season's chaos. Pete Carroll grabbed the coaching reins a mere 2 or 3 days after Spike seized executive power. That razor-thin timeline practically screams that Spike possessed absolutely zero leverage in crowning his own ultimate sideline commander. I firmly stand by that theory. Such blindingly fast regime changes occasionally strike pure gold, but they often spark complete disaster. Then, despite last season's catastrophic 3-14 nightmare, amidst blazing dysfunction and agonizing defeat, Carroll stubbornly deployed his loyal veterans anyway. Snagging Geno Smith was an acceptable gamble on paper. I genuinely praise that bold strike. I envisioned tremendous gridiron success. Instead, the entire operation crashed and burned spectacularly. New York blindly trusts that strategy now. Hey, my predictions misfired. Securing Smith felt brilliantly seasoned for a franchise desperately craving stability under center. Sounded brilliant initially, spoiler, it totally bombed. As the agony compounded, Carroll infuriatingly benched B-Tech's entire rookie armada for almost the whole brutal campaign. He foolishly favored throwing Stone Forsythe onto the battlefield instead. Honestly, what absolute madness were we even witnessing there? Kai Blue Kelly too. He obsessively fielded his old Seattle cronies, completely blinding himself to any fresh, superior talent. Spytech finally wields absolute undisputed power. Carroll faced swift execution right after the season finale, unleashing Spike with a massive blank check to aggressively poach insane swarms of elite mercenaries, absolute staggering hordes of hired guns. It creates this heart-pounding turning point where you just have to brace yourself. We can finally dissect his master plan, decoding the terrifying juggernaut he is forging for this upcoming explosive season. Diving deep into the madness, my absolute favorite thrill on this channel involves unpacking the current high-stakes drama while wildly anticipating the future. The incoming rookie selection holds unbelievable potential. A few sneaky trades might still shock us, but the upcoming draft remains our ultimate, glorious battleground. Surveying the vast landscape of simulated war rooms reveals a totally mind-blowing consensus across these chaotic prediction boards. Levi Dumbro brilliantly compiled every single wild projection over at Just Blog Baby, exposing exactly how Vegas plans to attack. He highlighted 3 massive scenarios, and frankly, the strategies are fiercely unpredictable and scattering in wildly different directions. Universally, Mendoza claims the undisputed first crown. The true suspense lies in the aftermath. Let's conquer PFF's explosive opening blueprint. Gordon McGinnis dropped his newest bombshell. By the second round, he fiercely projects, securing Emmanuel Pregman, Oregon's absolute bulldozer guard. A truly vicious tactical strike. He follows up by unleashing Dominique Orange, Iowa State's monstrous anchor in the trenches. Personally, snatching that Texas Tech powerhouse at 36 feels deadlier. Hunting an enforcer later at 67, but I crave maximum destruction. Regardless, Spike's terrifying ambition relies purely on forging an impenetrable, bloodthirsty front line. The glaring absence of aerial weapons is shocking. How does that aerial assault survive? Sure, the receiving corps evolves slightly, but they remain completely faceless foot soldiers. Pure mediocrity, just ordinary bodies filling the depth chart, expendable roster fillers, nothing more. Shifting our gaze to the next thrilling simulation, a lethal defensive back enters the blazing fray. Enter McNeil Warren, Toledo's ultimate wildcard. This prospect radiates pure, unadulterated danger and absolute mystery. Is he patrolling deep coverage, locking down the boundary edge, roaming the explosive slot? He is a towering, muscular, versatile weapon of mass destruction, screaming the next Nick Ammon Warrior. Every single franchise desperately hunts that identical dominance. An undeniably spectacular force on the gridiron. Then CBS's Josh Edwards throws a curveball, capturing the monstrous Caleb Banks at 36 if the Florida juggernaut miraculously tumbles. Boasting such terrifying, earth-shattering mass, ignoring him is professional suicide. Next, he surprisingly targets Bell to anchor the aerial attack. This sparks intense, monumental debate. Drafting Chris Bell feels completely reckless following his devastating, late-season ACL explosion, especially when your system desperately demands an instant, game-breaking rookie presence. Yet, that receiving core overflows with raw, unproven fire. Perhaps Spike unlocked a hidden, lethal potential within Jack Beck that completely eluded Pete Carroll's vision. Beck likely suffered as another tragic victim of Carroll's stubborn benching habits. Spike might secretly bank on an explosive, dormant arsenal hiding inside that locker room, flooded with so many vibrant, hungry young warriors. Management clearly trusts Naylor's sheer willpower to brilliantly bridge the gap, boldly conquering the dominant mantle until the next legendary superstar emerges. I'm merely shouting that a pristine setup is vital. Building an unbreakable fortress around a fresh gunslinger is paramount. Absolutely. But securing one final, terrifying deep threat weapon changes the whole dynamic. Granted, unleashing a beast like Brock Bowers violently shatters the conventional playbook anyway. I am intensely obsessed with dominating the line of scrimmage, yet hoarding this massive pile of lottery tickets brings incredible tension. So much mind-blowing hype remains to dissect. We will fiercely conquer every rumor right here, exclusively on Sports Talk Extra. Smash that subscribe button immediately before you miss the action. 12 minutes of pure adrenaline down, and the chaos is just getting started. Stick around. Frankly, the Raiders are menacingly close to a colossal breakthrough. Vegas is rewriting the rulebook entirely. Thank you for riding the storm with me. Catch you on the next explosive upload. Peace out.